Okay, so this is System Engineer 8 or SE8. Currently there's no devices on our network, so we've got a blank canvas here. We've got the Explorer view on the top half of the screen, which shows connected devices or drive modules depending on your selected workflow. The Detail view on the bottom half of the screen displays editable parameters from selected device or drive modules in either the Setup workflow or the Tune workflow. In the preset workflow, the Detail view displays your user preset libraries and any published manufacturer libraries as well. The toolbar is located on the left of the window, and some common tools across all workflows are Sleep All, Wake All, Mute All and Unmute All. We've also got a few options up here on our global menu bar. About gives us some information on the software version and some standard about info on Linea Research. Output allows you to export your logs, so if you ever have an issue with your amplifier, your service engineer may ask you for this log. We've also got an option to add virtual devices here, so this will allow you to add virtual devices with or without Dante. This is great for setting up presets or creating presets when you're away from physical units, and you can also design your system on the go as well. In application settings, if you're an OEM user, you can enter your OEM password here to access your OEM features. In the authorization section here, you can enter your brand's authorization. We've got display units here as well. So this will allow you to change the global delay units between imperial, metric or time. We've got the bandwidth units here. So this will allow you to change the global EQ bandwidth units between Q and octave. And we've also got UI scale here with a drop down. So the UI scale allows for scaling the UI between 50 and 150%. So we now have a device connected to our network. The first thing we want to do is have a look at our setup workflow. The setup workflow is a device-focused workflow that allows configuration of input and output routing, network settings, power options, and device firmware updates. SE8 actually has constant discovery, so the app is always looking for devices. Once they go online, the device bar will show up in the Explorer view, like this one here. So this is our device bar, and this represents the amplifier which is currently connected to our network. We've got a couple of functions here that we can look at. The first thing here that you'll see is the locate button. If I click this, the front panel LEDs on your amplifier will start flashing. Now that might be useful if you have a rack of quite a few amplifiers and you need to quickly identify which device bar represents the physical amplifier. We've got a text box here so we can name our amplifier. We've got the model name of our amplifier, so currently we've got a 44M10 FIR enabled amp. We've got the IP address and the subnet as well. If we were to add a virtual device, it would look slightly different. So we've got a new device bar here for the virtual device. It will tell us that it's a virtual device in the text down here, and it will give us the model as well here. You can see that when we click on each of these device bars, it will pull up the detailed view for the one that you've selected. So we've got our matrix mixer down here, which is for channel routing configuration. This is where we configure our in and output DSP, and we can also unlock our trim here to adjust our input trims. So the first we want to look at is our input source channel. So we would want to choose an input type and then assign a DSP, A, B, C or D to an output. To select our input type, we would click this drop down menu and we would select from one of the options down here. Because this is a Dante enabled amplifier, we've actually got the choice to choose Dante here as well. Changing an input type will also change the color of your input. On our drop down here on our input side, we've also got a fallover section. This will allow users to configure redundant audio sources that will switch over when the primary audio source is interrupted or lost. So we've got a fallover style here. When a Dante card is installed on the device, you will have two options for audio detection. Choosing audio will detect the audio stream, and choosing Dante will detect the Dante stream connection. Your fallover speed is defaulted to auto. That means the audio will immediately switch back to the primary source once redetected. Delayed will cause the audio to switch back after 5 minutes. In latch mode, the audio will not switch back automatically. The user must manually select the audio source when fallover occurs in this mode. On our output channels here, we have the option to bridge the channels. And we can also name our DSP and our outputs from these text boxes here as well. The next thing we see here is our output load impedance. This is used for load matching, so we can select from different volt lines here. So we've got from 25 volt to 100 volt, or we've got 2 ohm up to 8 ohm. And we've also got the option to choose auto. And what this will do is it will analyze your signal a few times every second and adjust the impedance accordingly. Next, we've got some network configuration options here. Here we can choose to have our devices in auto IP or in static IP. We can edit our IP address here. We can see our MAC address here. Right now we're using our demo unit, so we won't have a MAC address enabled onto it. And we've also got a bit of information on our Dante card here as well. Here we have our power options. So we can see a live view of our current draw with a peak hold. And this can be reset using this button here. We've got an external breaker protection here. This will protect your amp from exceeded current flow. And we've got a couple of power save options here as well. So we've got standby time and we've got sleep time. Right now we've got these off, but we can select up to 89 minutes for our unit to go in standby, and then the same again with our sleep time as well. If you don't want to specify time, we can simply just click these buttons here. We've also got the option here to update our firmware as well. Over here we've got our device menu bar. File will allow you to open files and save your settings. Device will allow you to revert to factory settings, clear groups and restart your devices without being at the physical unit. Logs, or your device monitor, will show you the current, DC voltage and thermal capacity. We'll also show you some power system events here. So these counters will log events related to the power supply. And we've got power cycle times here as well. So this list shows the last time the device was power cycled in relation to the current time in hours and minutes. We can also see our fan speed here, and that will display the current left and right fan speeds. In the device menu bar, we've also got the option to configure our snapshots. So snapshots will allow you to recall device routing and preset configurations for your device from the device memory. When you recall a snapshot, it loads device memory presets for each input and output, and it will recall other device-wide settings, restoring a device-wide preset. You can record a snapshot in 3 different ways. We could use the amplifier's front panel if you have an M-series amplifier. We can use System Engineer. Or we could use an aux port on the rear of your device to switch through our snapshots. You'll notice that snapshots looks similar to our matrix mixer, but we do have a couple more options here. To edit our snapshots, the first thing we want to do is click the edit button here, and now we can start to configure our snapshot. We've got 20 snapshot banks, and we can name each snapshot using this text bar here. We can choose our input type. We can unlock the trim and change our input trim. We can name our DSPs in these text box here, and we can also name our outputs here as well. We can select our presets from this drop down menu here, and we've actually got the option to select up to 50 presets. Right now, because we're using a demo amp, it's only showing us what's in the device right now. Once we're happy with our snapshot, we can save it to the device by clicking this button, and then we can apply the snapshot to the device by clicking Apply Snapshot. To navigate to the preset workflow, we can click the preset workflow button down here in our workflow view. The preset workflow is a collection of tools that allow the design, editing, organization, and sharing of presets and preset libraries. So the device bar in the preset workflow shows the device with the routed drive modules inside. We have the preset library here. In the preset library, you can load and save drive module preset configurations to your drive module, as well as load and save device memory folders from a device. Over here, we have the preset preview, which will allow you to preview the currently selected preset in the preset library, and also create and edit your presets as well. Here we have the preset library menu bar. The preset library menu bar contains the tools for creating, editing, and sharing preset libraries and configurations. So the first thing we want to do is create a new preset library. If we hover over any of these buttons here, it will tell us its function. So here we want to create a new preset library. We can now name this folder, or this preset library. So now we've created our library, we want to create a subfolder. So to do that, we'll click this Create New Folder. And we can also name this folder as well. So now we've got our preset library and the preset folder, we can start creating our preset. So the first thing you're going to want to think about is which type of preset you want. We've got a drop down menu here with the option of choosing a one-way all the way up to an 8-way. Right now we've got 4 one-ways here, so we would want to choose a one-way, and we can hit this plus button here, and now that's created a new preset for us here. To populate the preset preview, we can click here, and now we can see the preview of this preset. So from here we can now start to edit or create our presets. We've got the option for EQs, ins and outs. And we've got crossover here as well. To expand the parameters, we can click this drop down menu and we can see our protection here and our high pass and low pass for our outputs. We can also click all to show us our channels here as well. We can adjust the delay and the gain for our ins and outs. We can mute our ins and outs, and we've also got the option for polarity here as well. Once we're happy with how our preset is configured, you'll see that we've got a floppy disk here flashing at us. This is just prompting us to save our preset, so we can click save, and now that preset has been saved here. Once we're happy with our presets, we can convert this folder into a device folder. So we can click on the folder and then click this button here to turn it into a device folder. What this is showing you here is your 50 preset slots within your device. So each amplifier or processor will have 50 preset slots. And in slot 1 here, we've got our new preset which we've just created. We can edit this as well. So we can click and drag and drop these into any slot we want. And we can also see the physical device's presets by clicking this Select Device button up here. So now that I've clicked this Select Device button, we can now see the presets within this device. If we want to import our newly created presets into our physical device, we can click Load to Selected Devices, and this will give you an image showing you that we're taking presets from this preset folder and we're going to put them onto this amplifier here. We can also work the other way around, and we can take presets from a physical device and then populate a preset folder. So we can click Save Device Memory, and that image will show you that we're taking presets from the amplifier and then we're going to put them into this new preset library. Within the normal folder, if we were to select a preset, we can also drag that straight into our device, like that. And we can also work the other way around. So if we want to take a preset from the device, we can click and drag into our folder here. To navigate to the tune workflow, we can click the tune view here in our workflow options. And the tune workflow provides a drive module focused view for tuning, optimizing and monitoring of your loudspeaker system. Now that we've gone into our tune view, you'll notice that we've got a few more functions populating our toolbar here as well. So we've got some group functions here, and we've also got some quick view functions here as well. You'll also notice that our drive modules here, populating the Explorer view, are organised according to how we've configured our matrix in the setup view. So because we've configured this to be 4 one-ways, this is now split up into 4 one-way drive modules. From here, we can also rename our DSP and outputs by clicking on these text boxes. By selecting each of these quick view options we have here, that will populate the corresponding view within the device module, and we can quickly modify their parameters. Currently we're on mute, so we can mute our ins and outs. We've got meters, so we've got our input and our output meters, and we've got our protection meters here. We've got our input and output gains here, our delay. The EQ will eventually show us a graphic of our current EQ in later versions of the software. The same again with the crossover. We've got polarity, live impedance, and current. By clicking on either the input or output sides, that will pull up our detailed view down here. So we can see our input EQ and our output EQ. On our input, we have a 6-band EQ down here. We've got a high pass and 2 low shelf filters. And then we've also got the option for enabling FIR filters here as well. On our output EQ, we've got an 8-band EQ. And we've got a low shelf and a high shelf as well. We've also got the option for FIR filtering, so you can use third-party applications to create an FIR file. And then you can load that FIR file from here as well. EQ will also allow you to copy and paste. And we've also got an EQ toggle here for quick A/Bing. So if I was just to quickly create an EQ for A and B. And we've got an option to add pretty much as many as you like here. We can edit our EQ using the EQ control by dragging the EQ points on the graph. Or we can edit each band using these text boxes down here. We can also change between Bell and APF response curve parameters by clicking each band like this here. We've also got a channel strip here as well in the detail view, which allows the editing of delay, gain, polarity and mutes. We've got the option to multi-select as well. So if we hold Control and we click. So right now I'm holding Control and clicking on my outputs. If I was to affect the EQ, now that we've selected 3 outputs here, that will now affect all 3 of these here like that. We've got the option to sort view as well up here on the top left. So if this started looking a bit messy for you, then we can click sort view and then that will quickly snap to grid and place everything in the center of your screen. Within our tune workflow, we've also got crossover and protection features as well. So we can see our crossover here in our detailed view. We've got the high pass and low pass filters here. We can select our shapes by clicking the button here. And we've got all the standard shapes here, Butterworth, Bezel, Lincoln, Riley and Hardman. On the right of that you can see our protection. So the first thing you see here is the virtual crossover limiter. Currently it's in normal mode. So normal mode is a RMS collaborated pseudo peak detecting limiter. If we were to select the VX, now it becomes a band split linear phase limiter. Next we've got the thermal limiter or the Tmax. This is intended to protect your driver against damage due to overheating. Next we've got the excursion limiter or the Xmax, and what this does is it protects your driver against the excessive linear movement of the cone and the voice coil. The next thing you see here is the driver impedance alarm, where you can input your minimum and maximum impedance. If this alarm was to be triggered, you'd see a red ring around your devices here to notify you. Within your tune workflow, we can also now add groups. So to add a group, I can click this add group button here, and that will populate our Explorer view up here. And now to add to this group, we can unlock the padlock here and we can add a couple of things to this group and then lock it back up. Now you'll see that if we click on this new group up here, it will now populate our detailed view down the bottom. We can also name our groups here. So we've added a group by clicking the Add Overlay Group button here. And that's added a group overlay bar. We've used the group membership to lock and unlock our group. And we can also remove from our group by clicking these Add and Remove buttons here. We've also got a group mixer button down here. So if we click that, we can now see the group mixer. And if I was to add another group here, you'll see that they now both populate this group mixer. Within here, we can also change the colors. A color will automatically assign itself to a new group, but we have a palette here where we can change the color. And so to edit our groups, we can just click on them here to populate our detail view, and we can edit whatever we need to in here. So we're currently on our EQ. So whatever I do here in that group will affect whatever is assigned to that group. We can also use these quick view buttons here for groups. So we can adjust the whole group gain or the whole group delay. And you'll also see some familiar things down here in our EQ. So we've got the EQ toggle here, as well as the channel strip here.